process. That's what it is.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining. My name is Carl Ellis. This is The Voice for Healing. I have a very, very special guest here today. He's an award-winning director, feature film director. He is absolutely a great, great guy. He runs a company called the Scruffy Bear Media, and I met him about 2 years ago on a film set, and he just like shone. I mean, his work is impeccable. Later on, I will send you the links of his website and what he does with his wonderful wife, not partner. I did say partner before, Nicky, and they're here in our studio, and it's a real honour to have Mr. Darren Cook here. Hi, Darren. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
You know what? It's been such a great day, but it's very stressful, and you know we take every day on board, and we just, you know, go ahead and just carry on and keep going, keep going, you know. So basically, I wanted to ask you what you, you know, how it works with your particular profession, being a director. I could imagine it's extremely challenging, and you have a lot of things going on and a lot of people to manage. So just give us a little information, a little, you know, info on how it works for you.
I would say, as a director, a lot of that pressure is taken off me,
right,
by having the right people around me,
right,
which I think is very key when doing any kind of filming project. It's good to have the right people behind you. I mean, I'm very lucky that you know, Nicky has taken a lot of the burden off my shoulders with regards to filming, allowing me to concentrate on being creative.
Right.
There was a time where you used to do it on yourself, like everything on your own, and you can't. It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
So I think having the right people around you helps you to actually do the job, to creatively do the job, and to physically do the job. It's having the right team and the right people around you supporting you is the best way to do the job properly.
Yeah, they say behind every great man is a powerful, strong woman.
Oh God, yes.
It can be vice versa. I can
yeah.
imagine. So
yeah, no, it's very true that there's a lot of kudos in that comment. You know, it's the people behind you push you to that make you look good. Yeah. You know, I could never do this on my own. I've tried. Sure. It's impossible. So having that person behind you is absolutely key.
Yeah. And that's true, you should say that, because I remember actually when I did a show many moons ago called Starlight Express, I was playing the old train, so the old steam train. We did that for 6 years. And I was basically on stage, on roller skates, doing this. And I was like, you know, but backstage it was absolute chaos. You know,
I bet it was.
Absolute chaos. And then the performance was perfect. We had a great performance, you know, probably 90% of the time. The performance was fantastic. But I do understand what you say when, you know, it's important to have that support system around, which kind of brings me up to, you know, the Voice of Healing. And we will touch on many different things as well as it pertains to, you know, support systems for men and things of that nature. Because, you know, I believe truly that men are going through a really hard time at the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I think we'd be quite unanimous in that statement.
Yeah.
But certainly, I feel it's getting worse now because there's a lot of pressure on men, also on women. So, because obviously my wife is connected to me, and so whatever I go through and she goes through, you know, we both feel it. We both go through it together.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times when men don't have that connection or that support system, you know, what options would you give to, you know, guys who do not have, you know, the luxury of having, you know, a wonderful wife who supports you, not only in your work but also in your personal life?
Friends, like having friends around you. Family's good as well. It's I think if you've got family that you can talk to, siblings, it's. I've been quite lucky that my dad and my mum were very very loving parents. My mum said, I lost my dad 2 years ago today.
Oh, sorry to hear.
And my dad was a huge tower in my life.
Right.
He supported a lot of the stuff I did. He always had a laugh with me. He was always there and always supportive. I'm one of those people, so I'm very lucky there was a lot of love in our house. You know,
Right.
we all had our ups and downs.
Yeah.
Me and my brother growing up, we had a very good brotherly friendship, like relationship. But over time, I personally feel that that's kind of separated.
Okay.
You know, it's we don't talk as much. The conversations aren't there. It frustrates my mum quite a lot.
Yeah.
But I've got some incredibly good friends.
Yeah.
I've got Neil, who we call Bear, who you met, my DOP. He's
Yes,
been my
he's
friend
a
for
top guy, yes.
25 years plus. That
Right.
guy's been in my life, and
Right.
he's like my brother. We've got Paul Banton, Paul B, Mr. B we call him. He is a guy who I have relied on and needed quite a lot. Blake, who's actually, there's one of the tracks in the film that we'll see tonight. Blake's band, the Decoders, Under, the two bands that he's got. Blake has been there when I've been at my lowest points, when I was in a really dark, a very bad relationship many years ago. Blake was there, and it took someone like Blake to literally tell me off.
Yeah.
This isn't you. You're in the wrong place. You know, I've been very very lucky with my friends who have been there to support me, and I've struggled over the past 2 years since losing my dad. That it's almost like I've reverted back to being a kid.
Yeah.
And I've struggled, and I've never had a problem showing my emotions.
Yeah.
It's been ridiculed sometimes by partners in the past. It's been hidden by me because of having that feeling. It's very difficult for a man to be a man in this day and age, but have the emotions and the sympathy and the characteristics of being a bloke, but being allowed to cry every now and then.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to think that it's okay to cry, even in this day and age. You're still branded with those slurs and those horrible names that people call you, and that's why a lot of men hide it. They'll recluse themselves, they'll lock it away, and you know what's one thing to say? Yeah, I'm fine. Oh, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine. And deep down inside, you're not. You're battling with it.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult, and it's very sad that men have to do that. I feel better after crying. My dad described this to me once. It's like a valve. When the pressure builds up, you've got to release that valve, and if you don't, what happens to the valve?
Absolutely.
What happens to the gauge? It goes bang.
Yeah, and in fact, that's what a lot of men are feeling at the moment.
Yeah,
and I completely relate to you as it pertains to, your losing your father. You know, when I lost my father 6 years ago, it felt to me that my whole world had fallen apart.
Yeah.
I was, after his death, I was walking on the streets looking at people that looked similar to him.
I've done it.
Any clothing, any kind of remembrance of him.
Yeah.
I was on it, and you feel lost. You feel like that part of the genealogy is just gone, So I totally understand that. And as it pertains to showing your emotions, I mean, my wife will always tell you as well, you will speak to her tonight. But I am the most, probably one of the most emotional guys you will know.
Yeah.
Certainly when it comes down to my children.
Yeah.
And when they were born, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God. I brought you into this world. I'm really sorry. That kind of thing. I was like, because I know what they were going to experience, right? So for me, it was kind of... I think it's good that men show emotion, and the Voice of Healing is about that, about men really showing emotions, and to be proud. It doesn't make a person weak. That's kind of an old program of maybe our fathers and our fathers' fathers. You know, pull your bootstraps up and all that kind of stuff. And I think the men of today are somewhat more open to expressing their emotions, but they're still held back by this kind of mindset that it's not manly to do that. And I think men who cry really are true men, because you leave it to a certain point, and as you said, it explodes. Do you have any experience of like things happening like that you can share with our audience? Obviously nothing too personal or
exploding.
Like in just in that way.
Do you know that there is I'm 55 at the end of this month.
All right.
I saw my dad cry twice, and one was when our cat Sheldon died, which was the weirdest thing out, because I never thought he was a cat person.
Right.
But the other one was when, like, my dad passed from cancer, and it was rapid.
Right.
Like we were told in November, he passed in January. That's no time. Right. But I remember those, when a doctor says to you, "Are all your affairs in order?" I'm not going to shit myself, but I looked at my dad, and it's the first time I saw my dad cry. Like, there was fear, and I've very rarely seen that. I've seen my brother cry when he hurts himself when he was younger. I've seen him cry when, obviously, what happened with my dad, and that brought us closer together for a while, but not enough to carry on. My daughter, my youngest daughter, Logan, she saw me cry, I think 3-4 years ago, when we found out that she was being bullied at school. Right. And it hit me quite hard, because I'd been through that. Like, at school, I was a weed. I was a real skinny rake at school, and I was a perfect target for a lot of the bullies. Yeah. And so when I heard that, it just took me straight back to that. But my Logan said, "That's the first time I've ever seen you cry." And it was scary. And so in your head, you're like, "Oh my God, I've just scared my daughter. What am I doing? What am I playing at?" And it's not that, it's, was that okay? Was it okay for me to cry in front of my daughter? I'm not scared of hiding my emotions. Like, I'm a very big family man. My friends, my good friends, are my family. My film crews, my film sets, are my family. We are working to the same thing, and I love what I do as that job. And if something goes wrong, I take it to heart, and I get quite upset. And I think that sometimes can be too much. Like, you'll pretty much be, what's the word, worrying about stuff all the time, because they're your family. So in the back of your head, you're like, I've got to be really strong for this. I can't show like things are getting to me. But sometimes they do, and sometimes it's not where you are or who you're with. It's outside factors that are coming in that are affecting you. Like news, history, stuff that happens in your town, your street, money. The huge things. There's all these little things that niggle at you on a daily basis that you have no control over. And I think if men don't release that pressure, that anxiousness, that anxiety, that valve's going to pop. It will pop, and it'll, there's too many men you're hearing about who feel no other option than to take their life. Find a way out of it. And I think that's a very scary element of this day and age.
And it's funny because I don't know if you ever watch MMA, but this guy called Paddy Pimblett, he lost his fight, unfortunately, but he put up a great fight. It was flipping amazing. It's just like, but he lost. And at his after fight speech, he was like, okay, well, you know what? He says, I've got 3 friends that passed away, that killed themselves, committed suicide because it got too much. And my word and my mission, why I'm fighting, really, is to have a big platform to tell people, listen, you don't have to go that far and take your life. Right? And it's funny because I just finished a movie with Frank Bruno. So obviously, he
Sean Croning's directing it.
Yeah. So The Force, no plug intended, but you know what I mean. He's like, I was like, God, this is. On speaking to him,
Yeah.
You could see that he had that something's going on.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. I thought I was big until I met him, and he's like he's a monster of a man. He's
Wow.
like massive, big voice and everything. But again, you know, like you mentioned, you know, if you keep it in yourself, and a lot of men do that.
Yeah.
Like my brothers as well, we have a very similar kind of background in terms of families not talking to each other for years, children being bullied in school. You know, my daughter gets bullied in school. She goes to a special school, but nevertheless, it's like, oh my God, it's like, I feel like I need to take, or men feel like they need to take all this on board, because I think it's a primal thing that they feel that, you know, it's their job to, you know, this big, strong caveman, I've got to protect and provide and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes we can have that pressure, and also not release it, and therefore becoming numb with that. And that numbness is, I was kind of reckon it to, the numbness is not a weakness. It's just a matter of control. It's just a matter of kind of organising your thoughts, you know, and collating everything and putting it into the right place. And I find it works for me in terms of, you know, my performances when I do shows and things of that nature. You know, it's very intense a lot of the times, and a lot of the times it's exposed because people see you on camera, you know, and it's like everyone sees what you're doing, especially live theatre. Sometimes I wake up and I'm exhausted, you know, and I'm like, I can't bother to do it. Okay, but you've got to go on stage, like 2,000 people, you know, and they want something from you. So if you don't have, if you want to try to let people know about, you know, this kind of holding things in and not letting it implode within yourself, if you don't have that, you know, immediate connection with people outside, what does one do? What does a young guy do who you know is going through certain issues and he's like, well, you know what, I don't know who to turn to. I've not really got any mates. They're all superficial. You know, if I say anything, they're going to see me as weak or, you know, other things. You know what I mean? What would your advice be to, you know, young guys like that? Because it is from 18, even younger.
It's really funny you said that. I've got mates, but have you got friends? Have you got a friend, a best friend? I mean, I'm there was one group that I started going to. I was introduced to this group several years ago, where they would just announce themselves, and it's Andy's Man Club. And Andy's Man Club is absolutely incredible for men.
Right.
And basically, there's no, they don't judge you. You know, what you do is you go there with a group of blokes. And I was taken back by how many people were at this club in Woking. Right. And I went there because I'd just split up from like a long-time partner who has Logan, my youngest daughter. Right. And I hope to this day it was an amicable split, that I had done it the right way round, because I just wasn't happy. And I felt like I'd lost my daughter. Even though I hadn't, I was away from my daughter. Me and Logan had been together every single day. To leave that behind hurt, and it made me very scared. Then my dad passing. That was a bigger kick than anything else. And I'm very, very grateful. I'm very lucky that I had Nicky there every single day to help and support me on this. And then I had to go and talk to someone, because for me it was that fear of burdening so much onto Nicky. Is that going to affect us? Which I knew it wouldn't, but in the back of your head you've got those demons shouting at you going, this isn't, you're not a man. It's horrible to feel that way. So Andy's Man Club I support and I promoted left, front and centre. I met the guys, I spoke to them. And I got to the point where 3 years of Andy's Man Club this, Andy's Man Club that, I never went. I was a hypocrite.
Right.
Why am I not going to this? Why am I not doing this? And the first time I turned up, I remember sitting in the car for half an hour going, I can't do this. You know, this isn't for me. You know, I'm not like these guys. Just as I'm about to leave, they've got I can't remember what they call them, but they've got a guy who walks around the car park and he knocks on the window. You coming in? No. Oh, sorry, you're coming in. So you go in. When you go in there, it's like you've known these guys for ages.
Yeah.
And, you know, literally you sign up, you get given a cup of tea, chocolate bourbon, custard cream, pink wafer.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I'm like, this is amazing. Go into this group, you split up and you're into all these different groups.
Yeah.
You get given the football, black football with Andy's Man Club on it.
Right.
As soon as you had that ball, you talk. No one else can interrupt you.
Right.
And I'm literally standing there going, I don't want to do this. I just went, I lost my dad a couple of months ago.
Wow.
He had cancer. It was but I still remember this all just coming out. And then all of a sudden I'm feeling the emotions building up.
Yeah.
And 4 of the guys in the circle, I lost my dad 5 months ago. Yeah, my dad's not well.
Yeah.
I'm not on my own.
Yeah. I think it's so important.
I think Andy's Man Club is something that really does have to be, you have to experience it to understand how it works. You know, it's Andy's Man Club and it's there for a reason. And, it's because Andy, I can't remember all the details, but Andy took his life during COVID. You know, he didn't feel he had anyone to talk to.
Right.
This club has been set up in his name. And it's absolutely incredible, and the exposure it's getting now. You know, there's some top names who are supporting Andy's Man Club. There is something there for you, which I believe. Don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to talk about it.
And we'll have to get the director over here at some point.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
I mean?
definitely,
Because
yeah.
I think what you said as well is so important. It's so important to share. And I feel, like you said with Andy's Man Club, I think when you share that problem, it doesn't seem as exaggerated as we make it within ourselves. You know, a lot of the times I found myself talking about my history, about my past and stuff like this. And a lot of the times it wasn't exactly how it actually happened.
Yeah.
It was, for me, exaggerated. And I was like, well, you know, it's funny how you stay in a particular moment in time in the present, which I feel is so important, like staying in the present and then going back and saying, okay, this is what happened, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
My mind was completely different. My brain was completely, my perspective was completely different.
Yeah.
And so I feel a lot of the people that we speak to as well, a lot of them are talking about the past, and it's very important because that's what's formed them, right? And then you have the present, which is what we want to bring the guys to with the Voice of Healing, because in the present, there is so much peace in that moment. I'll try to explain. It's like if you put yourself in a bubble and you take all the elements away, so there's no time, there's no space, there's no history, and there's nothing. Like, you're not man, you're not male, you're not female, you're nothing. You're just, if you like, a spirit.
Yeah.
Right, without any of the baggages, because how many of us know we come with baggages as soon as we're born, even through before birth.
Yeah.
Right. Our thing is really trying to get these people in that present moment where you can just be yourself, who you're truly meant to be. And I feel with a lot of the guys, a lot of them are drug addicts, alcoholics, gone through divorce and were drinking a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of them say, I just feel like there's no reason to live. And the biggest thing, do you know what, Darren, really got me, was one guy, he said to me, he's an actor, a Shakespeare actor, he's done some work in the Globe. And he said to me, I peed myself last night.